You ever have a gun pressed so tight against your head you can feel the man's pulse through his finger on the trigger? That's how my morning started, kneeling on the side of Highway 27, gravel biting through my slacks, the barrel cold as a verdict, except this time, I was the defendant and the jury was a couple of racist cops who had no clue who I was. Got any last words, hero? Sergeant Rick Donnelly spat, eyes glinting like a man who thinks the world owes him fear. I just stared forward, voice steady. Do you even realize what you're doing? He grinned. I'm doing my job. Something you people never respect. You know what I mean? That's the moment I realized. He picked the wrong man to make an example of. 30 minutes earlier, I was nobody special, just another guy in a faded Ford Taurus heading out to lay flowers at my wife's grave like I do every July 7th. Nothing fancy. Navy polo, khakis, Lena's perfume still lingering on the seatbelt. That car wasn't about showing off. Hell, I didn't want attention. Not today. But life's got a way of spinning the wheel right when your hands are off it. Blue and red lights snapped on in my rear view. I checked my speed. 53 and a 55. Not a single thing wrong. Still, I pulled over. That's what you do here. Even when your gut tells you something's off. Behind me, Rick Donnelly lounged in his patrol seat, toothpick between his teeth, muttering to his rookie partner, Jaden Cruz, too nice a car for this part of town. Bet he's up to something. Jaden, fresh out of the academy, tried to object. Sir, he didn't do anything. Rick just shrugged. Write him up for failure to signal. He did signal, Jaden said quietly. Rookie, we don't wait for crime to happen. We prevent it. Jaden, shut up. That's the culture. Power for power's sake. Rick swaggered up, hand on his pistol, never breaking eye contact. I rolled down my window, hands at 10 and 2, polite as a church usher. Good afternoon, officer. License and registration. Now. No, sir. No, please. He stared at my ID, lips curling. What are you doing here, Chris? Bit far from home. Or are you just like driving through backwoods towns in your dead wife's car? My jaw clenched, but I didn't react. Officer, have I broken any laws? I asked the questions. Step out of the car. Under the Fourth Amendment, unless you have reason to suspect I'm armed or dangerous, I have the right. Rick cut me off. You want to play lawyer? I smell weed. That's probable cause. Out. There was no smell. But that didn't matter. He yanked open my door, pulled me out, pushed me onto the hood. Jaden looked pale. Sarge, maybe stay back, Rick barked. The search was brutal, rough hands, whispered slurs, humiliation pooling in my stomach. He found nothing. Not because he was fair, but because there was nothing to find. That's when he made his move. I watched in the mirror as Rick slipped a tiny clear bag from his vest and tucked it under my seat. The classic play. He walked back, smug. Looks like we found a controlled substance, champ. Guess you're under arrest. I locked eyes with Jaden. You saw him plant that. You know this isn't right. Silence. That's when Rick pulled his gun. Oh, there I was, kneeling on the gravel, hands up. Rick's Glock pressed to my skull. You want to spend the rest of your life in a cell, Sergeant? I asked, calm as a pond. You think I'm scared of your lawyer talk? He sneered. I turned just enough for Jaden to see me. Officer Cruz, you have dash cam in your cruiser, right? Jaden froze. I pushed. I recommend you remember that before your silence ruins your future. And you, Sergeant, ever heard of Title 18, Section 242? Deprivation of rights under color of law? Federal statute. Rick's hand trembled. Jaden stammered, Sarge, dash cam's on. Rick hesitated, just for a heartbeat, before he slapped cuffs on me, dragged me to the squad car, spitting out charges, resisting arrest, drug possession, threatening an officer. Jaden whispered, what if he's telling the truth? Rick snapped, he's just another thug pretending to know the law. I kept my mouth shut. Sometimes, you win with silence. Oakfield Station was straight out of a bad cop show, fluorescent lights, chip paint, board booking officer chewing a toothpick. They locked me in a closet of a cell, hands behind my back, bruises blooming where Rick had tightened the cuffs just to make a point. He strutted around, making noise. But the thing is, I only needed one call. And it wasn't to a lawyer. The phone rang once. U.S. Marshal's Office, Agent Carla Monroe. This is Hawthorne. Code Black. Echo 902. The line snapped into sharpness. Where are you? Oakfield PD, Clayton County. I need extraction. Full lockdown on dash cam 706. Secure evidence immediately. Hold position. That was it. I handed back the phone, closed my eyes, and waited. 25 minutes later, hell rolled up, unmarked SUVs, tactical vests, FBI, marshals, the whole alphabet. Chief Hanlon stumbled from his office as Carla Monroe strode in, warrant and badge out. This station is under federal lockdown. Step aside. Rick tried to play tough. All this for one guy? Carla's voice was ice, not just one guy. You're holding a federal judge with falsified evidence. Rick blanched. He's a judge. That's when Deputy Director Nolan Grant stepped up, face like carved granite. Not just a judge, a circuit court judge. And you put a gun to his head. The dominoes tumbled fast after that. Rick went pale. Jaden Cruz looked like he was going to be sick. Carla walked me out, 2 marshals flanking. As we passed Jaden, I said, still time to tell the truth. He whispered, will it even matter? It always matters. That's how you break the cycle, right? You'd think that'd be the end, but no. The real war was just starting. Back in Atlanta, I met with Carla and Nolan. Over 17 complaints had been filed against Rick in the past 8 years, excessive force, racial profiling, all swept under the rug. Turns out, Chief Hanlon had his fingerprints on every cover-up. Internal affairs? Just a mailbox with a lock. And the twist? That rookie, Jaden, he flipped. He told everything, even how Hanlon kept a secret gray file off the books, handwritten, locked up every Friday at 6. DOJ cybercrime pulled the footage, Hanlon, binder in hand, in and out like clockwork. That night, we moved. Hanlon tried to talk tough in his office, sipping bourbon, desk lined with plaques, but his hand shook as I served him a subpoena. You're being investigated for conspiracy, obstruction, civil rights violations. Effective immediately, you're suspended. As the marshals cuffed him, he sneered, you think anything changes because I go down? I didn't answer. Sometimes silence says more. 3 days later, DOJ dropped a 7-page indictment. 6 officers arrested, evidence lockers raided, unregistered guns, untested rape kits, boxes of narcotics never locked. The story exploded. Oakfield collapse trending nationwide. Whistleblowers lined up. Families of victims, people who'd been silenced for years. I made it a point to meet them. In a packed community center, one mother stood, voice shaking. They killed my son. Said it was justified. No cam, no witnesses, just their word. I promised her, we opened that file. We opened all of them. The applause wasn't loud, it was weary, hopeful. In court, I sat not as judge, but as witness. Prosecutor Laura Beck called me to the stand. Where were you that day? Visiting my wife's grave. I described every second, the fake stop, the planted evidence, the gun at my head. Dashcam footage played. Rick swaggered, the mask finally off. The jury watched in silence, anger simmering. Then came Officer Reyes, Rick's old partner, admitting under oath that Rick used confiscated drugs to set people up. I didn't stop him, Reyes said. I wanted to be promoted. Laura finished with a gut punch. When good men stay silent, evil multiplies. Then, another twist. Chief Barnes, retired 6 years, took the stand. I was part of the problem, he said, voice raw. We protected our own, ignored complaints. I'm speaking now because what happened to Judge Hawthorne was a line that should never have been crossed. He looked at me. I owe you the truth. I owe this city more than silence. The jury sat in stunned quiet. You could feel something shift. Rick Donnelly himself took the stand. Holbrook, his defense attorney, tried to spin black man in a nice car. Your instincts kicked in, right? Rick's face finally cracked. I was angry. I thought I was untouchable. I was wrong. That was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever get. The verdict came after just 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Falsifying evidence, assault with a deadly weapon, obstruction, deprivation of rights under color of law. When the judge read it out, there was no cheering, just the sound of justice landing heavy, undeniable. Outside, in the rain, I told the cameras, this isn't about me. It's about accountability. No badge above the law, no victim too small. The real victory wasn't the sentence. It was what came after. DOJ dissolved Oakfield PD, sweeping reforms, federal oversight, the creation of the Emily Grace Initiative, named for my wife, a pro bono legal network for victims of police misconduct. The system, for once, was being rebuilt from the ground up. Still, I knew justice is never perfect. Not for everyone. But as I told a room full of law students, power is what you do when nobody's watching. Justice isn't a word. It's the fight you show up for every damn day. You want to know the punchline? The last thing I did was turn on my camera and look into the lens. If you've ever been silenced, overlooked, threatened by someone meant to protect you, know you're not alone. Justice is slow, but it's real, and it needs people like you to demand it. If this story hit you, don't let it fade. Speak up, comment, share it. Let's build a world where